Welcome to this week's Desk Side Chat. Our topic for this week is structuring and displaying your client engagement process. Our featured guest is Brad Connors. Brad, appreciate you joining us once again.
You bet. It's good to be here, John. Thanks.
Absolutely. Excited to have you, Brad. We're going to be talking about a number of things coming up around this particular topic. But before we dive in, I've told you this, I really think you have a very impressive background and story that has led you to this point in your career with iWealth and your business. So if you don't mind, if you could just share a little bit about your background, we certainly would appreciate it.
Yeah, I appreciate you asking. Well, my story, John, actually goes back to when I was 2 years old. At the age of 2, I was in a car accident. And as a result of that car accident, I had a collapsed lung and actually lost my father. And so there was an insurance settlement that was paid out. And, this is like the late 70s, early 80s. So interest was pretty good in banks. And so that money got put into a CD until I was 18 years old. So at the age of 5, I was adopted by my dad, grew up in a great household, mom and dad, and one brother, worked in the family business as I got older, which was plumbing and heating as I went through college. But, my first job was at the age of 14, and it was running a fish market for my uncle in Waterville, Minnesota, which is the bullhead capital of the world, by the way. And, a lot of people would come up from Iowa, stay for the week, catch bullheads, bring it in, and Walt Earl would skin and clean those bullheads, and I would freeze them and get them ready and sell bait. And I worked for $500 a month for 3 straight months, 6 days a week, rode my bicycle there and was underpaid. But I think my entrepreneurial kind of spirit was born that year when I worked in the fish market. And then, growing up, high school sweetheart, Trudy, and we're married today with 2 beautiful kids. We've been married for 25 years. But at the age of 16, I learned what it was like to borrow against those funds. So that money's sitting in the bank, accumulating. And I went to the Allegiant Bank and took a loan out, and I bought a Beretta GT. It was a 5-speed, black, beautiful car. It was probably the best car in the parking lot at Waterville High School. And at the age of 18, I remember driving over with my mom to pick up that check at the bank. And, conversations about a State Farm agent, conversations about an IDS representative. And, I was too smart for that. I didn't need any help. And so got the check, brought it back to Allegiant Bank, paid off my car, put the rest in savings, and just proceeded to buy stuff, John, just CDs and hats and all just kinds of stuff. And if I'd have just taken half of that and invested it, it just, the money that it would have grown today would have been amazing. And so, proposed to Trudy on my 21st birthday. And several months later, I remember, sitting around saying, how's this all going to work out? Because I was broke. Every penny that I had received was gone. I had stuff. I had a car that was starting to rust out, and I had 100 CDs in the back seat, but I didn't have anything. And so, the reason I got in this business is to help people make smart decisions with money, and not be foolish like I was, and to help educate clients and people about being smarter with their money. So I'm sorry it's a long-winded answer, but it's really how I got to where I'm at. Those core values of family and faith and, stick it out and do the right thing. Those things guide me today as I kind of lead iWealth kind of into the future.
Well, and I want to get into this a little bit as well, the evolution of your practice. So you got into the business. It's something that right out of the gate with that background, something you're very passionate about, but there was an arc and an evolution that has led you to this point with your practice. So do you mind sharing a little bit about that as well?
Yeah, I started so went to community college, tore my ACL playing football and said it's time to grow up, and got a desktop publishing degree of all things. And I had a friend of mine whose dad was in the insurance business and started just phone names, names out of a phone book and mailing them to dinner seminars and stuff like that. So I did that for 4 years, became a manager, and then had an opportunity to start my career in 1998 with Investment Centers of America, which was a small broker dealer, eventually owned by Jackson National and now spun off to LPL. But during those times when I started in this business, I had no assistant, and now there's 10 people on the team. So lots of things that have came up along the way. Not a perfect arc as far as hiring and letting people go and those type of things, but really think that we've got a really good team. But the other thing that happened, and this part of the story, but after playing football at 205 pounds, I went to 290 and got married and was kind of a large guy. And today, as I sit here, I'm at 190. So, that 100 pounds has been gone for 10 plus years. I did it the right way. It just was over time and hard work. It was easier to put on than it was to take off. But I changed when that happened, and this is going back, my daughter's now 21. So I would say about 20 years ago is when that change happened. And it was just kind of my routine of getting up at 5 a.m. and all those things that I do, which continued this morning. So.
Well, and you've talked about this as well, the importance of strategic coach and things that you've done. When we had you on before, you talked about who, not how, and really, being comfortable with delegation. When I think of iWealth in your practice, it's a practice that I believe is run very efficiently in comparison to a lot of the advisors I've worked with over my career. What really has kind of beyond just simply all this motivation and things that have put you in this place, what really has carried you to this point, and then that'll hopefully lead us into the topic as far as the client engagement process.
Yeah, so for me, I've been blessed to have a Colby. So Colby's like Meyer-Briggs and those type of things. Everyone on the team has it. My kids, my wife, they all have Colby's done. And mine's a 7-8-4-2, and the 8 is a follow through. And what that means, quite simply, is I get a lot of stuff done, and I'm a process type guy naturally. So doors closed a lot of times. I love checklists, those type of things, and so it can be a curse. And here's why. If I'm out, this happened. So I'm out several years ago and I'm shoveling snow to be able to grill out because I enjoy doing that. And it's like 10 degrees out. My son is pulling a sled around in the backyard. And he's like, "Dad, can you push me down the hill?" And I had to tell him, "Corbin, just give me 20 minutes and then I'll come push you." And I did. I was the dad and went and done it. But what's more important, finishing shoveling or push your son on a sled? It's just that I had to finish what I had started, And so that has allowed me to be able to get a lot of things done, but it can be a curse, like I just said too. So at least I'm aware of what that's like. But a lot of the systems and processes that we'll talk about in my business, the fact that I got up at 5 a.m. today, that I worked out, I had my 30 minutes workout, all those things, because I need to have that process to run on, that it's just everything is scheduled and booked out.
And it's something that let's get into the topic now. It's something that when you look at the industry, buzzwords and things that are being floated out, holistic planning, comprehensive wealth management, you see all these things. There's so many different components that can go into engaging with the client and processes. What have you done, Brad, to help organize that and keep those processes in line for the clients and making sure you're following through on what the clients need?
Yeah, not right or wrong. I recognize the fact, 25 years plus in this industry, that some people's value proposition is managing money. It's not mine. I realized that really early on, John, that if I was going to stand out to a client, I was going to take care of them just like they were grandpa and grandma. That I was going to dot I's, cross T's, and make sure that I put them in front of the right who's, to use that term, to take care of their legal documents and those type of things. And so years ago, we created a process, we call it iPath. And I'll take clients through that and let them know that, this isn't about me picking the magic investment or that I'm smarter than the 10 other guys uptown. This is about the way that we walk you through a journey, this path, and make sure that we dot I's and cross T's. And we work by the golden rule to treat people how, we want to be treated. And so, I think recognizing early on that X's and O's, meaning stock picking and mutual fund picking, wasn't my forte, and making sure we outsource that, I think we were ahead of the curve, because now what you're seeing is, with all these online tools and things like that, I really believe managing money is a commodity. And so you better have a process in place to be able to stand out from your competition so that you can articulate that value to your clients, that you're more referable, the assets are more sticky, those type of things. So we've built a lot of processes around that.
And built a technology that is helping you deliver that and then convey it to the clients as well. Can you talk a little bit about that, Brad?
Yeah, it's interesting, the evolution of the technology. It was kind of, just by chance, but as I went through, I wrote a book several years ago, John, called Fish Don't Clap. And the book wasn't about Brad and how I love myself. It's a fable that walks people through a journey. But I helped too many clients retire and they shouldn't have, because they lacked purpose. They didn't know what the heck they were going to do when they retired. They just wanted out, but they never thought about what was the next phase. And so the book, I think, does a really nice job of helping people get their head around, do I really want to retire or not? But along with the book, there was inside of there were the steps that we walked, Hal through in the book. That was our make-believe character. And so those steps are, what's the story around Social Security, long-term care? Have we reviewed your taxes? Is your will up to date? Power of attorney, healthcare directives? Have we had a family meeting? What's your story around college funding and what you want to do for your kids or grandkids? As good advisors, which you work with that are part of your system, those advisors are already asking those questions. They're not rocket science, and you better know what they are to document and help your clients out. Here's what's missing though. I'm a big user of technology. I'm not an inventor of it. I'm a user of it. And so, we use, cash flow analysis tools that are online. We use risk tools that are online. What I couldn't find is an online tool that would allow me to keep score with all these things and to have it client facing. Most of the time it was hid in our CRM. So what I did is I went in our CRM and I started to document all the story around Social Security, tax planning. Did we do Roth conversions? Did we review last year's taxes? Did we have a family meeting? What are they going to do if they get long-term care? Are they going to buy it or sell 40 acres? What's the story around that? And I was handwriting it. My assistant would type it up and hide it in our CRM. That way, I thought if ever a client comes in and says, what are you doing for me lately? Or the client's children come in and say, you're charging mom and dad 1%, but now they're in a long-term care and they don't own it. Like, did you even have the conversation? Now I had this document I at least could print out and say, yeah, we did this back in 2008. So anyway, I looked around, couldn't find it. It went well with the Fish Don't Clap. And so where we are today is over the last 3 years, we've used it for 3 years, by the way. But we have this FDC, so 4 days coming, plan on purpose website. It's 2 pages. Every client meeting starts with their avatar on what they look forward to in the future. And it starts with the R factor from Strategic Coach, which I've been in that community for 10 years, which is 3 years from now, if we look back, what has to happen both personally and professionally for you to be happy? So every client meeting we have starts on a positive focus. And then page 2 of the website is short, intermediate, long-term goals. And then we can open up in front of a client and start to articulate our value by typing in exactly the story around Social Security and long-term care and cash flow and risk and debt and charities and those type of things. So it's pretty cool. Like I said, we've been using it for quite some time, and now we've got it so that we can roll this out. So other advisors now are starting to use this tool too.
Well, and I think what's interesting and what's, like you said, what's missing is the client facing component, because a lot of advisors are doing all these things. And we talk about this often. Do the clients know, or are they aware? And especially when you talk about money management being, commoditized in some ways, the clients look at performance and that ends up being, well, what am I evaluating my advisors on? Is it just price? Is it, performance? And in being able to document and then show those things to the client is extremely important. So we're really excited and fortunate, Brad. We talked about this where we're going to roll this into a full demo for the community later this month. But can you just talk a little bit about what the client visual component of that looks like. And then we'll get into the nitty gritty during that demo and actually show people what it looks like.
Yeah, so the website now integrates with Redtail's the first CRM that it integrates with. And then, from a client standpoint, again, they choose their avatar, which is always fun, even on the second, third meeting when they're like, remember, this is your avatar for the future, and we'll laugh about it. But the market could be down 1,000 points today. And when I meet with my next client, we're going to talk about what's important to them the next 12 months or the next 3 years and start to document those type of things. So, it's really important to start every meeting on that positive focus on about the client.
You just dropped off.
And then to be able to continue to go through those things methodically. The other thing that it does is it also is read only for your clients. If your person wants to allow the client to be able to go ahead and have access to it, they can. So again, those things are all being done by really good advisors right now, but it's held in an Excel spreadsheet, a CRM, a yellow pad that you got to go back and look at. And why not have it client facing so the clients can see progress? You mark a box when it's completed and you time date stamp it. Having clients shake their head that they're happy that they got their wills done, that we've reviewed their taxes and what the story is, beneficiary reviews on every single client meeting. Those things are super important.
And like I said, later this month, we're going to be doing a full demo for the community. This is something that you've been doing in your practice, as you mentioned, for a couple of years, and now rolling it out. You're also a big part of what this community is all about. So can you talk a little bit about your motivation, why you want to be rolling this out to other advisors and what you're looking for from those advisors who might kind of test run this for you?
Yeah, what I've learned over the years is I really enjoy mentoring, coaching, and helping other advisors too. Not getting paid to do it. I just, I believe in the word reciprocity and give, and things come back. But I want to help other advisors be better. And I think this tool, in fact, I know this tool helps because I've had other advisors using it already telling me that. They tell me they're going to sell more long-term care, that they're having better conversations with their clients by using it. And so my ask is this. So we'll go ahead and turn this on after we do the training for the advisors that want to use it. It's all approved from an OBA standpoint. And, the only PII information that's in it is a name and an email address. So as long as we have those two things, we're fine. There's no date of birth, social security, account numbers, none of that. There's no storage of documents. So it's pretty clean that way. But anyway, so we're going to turn it on. We're going to give them 90 days, no cost. Just go ahead and use it. And my ask is I would like to have I got about 25 question survey when I'm done. I would like that survey completed by whoever's going to use the tool, just so I can get better, just so I can learn. And if there's some updates, we've already made a couple little tweaks with it from other advisors' suggestions. So that's my ask and my want, but truly really enjoy the community. We've hosted a couple meetings for advisors. We'll bring in investment people to kind of talk. We just want to help the community out, period. And what I've learned over the years is that I don't care if the person's 10 miles away, from a competition standpoint, just give, and it'll come back.
That's a big part of what this is all about. So if you're currently a member of the GAF community, coming up August 24th, noon is when we will be doing the demo. Brad will be going through the software, sharing what it looks like. And Brad, I love that mentality. You and I talked about this, is just you getting better, right? Getting feedback from advisors, kind of checking it out, kicking the tires, and just, this continual process, everybody getting better. If you're not currently part of the GAF community and you're interested in learning more, please reach out to us and let us know. Goodadvisorsfinishfirst.com, goodpeoplefinishfirst.com. It'll take you to the same place. Brad, thank you so much for joining us this week. We really appreciate your time.
You bet. Thanks, John.